The night I brought Pokemon Moon home was a memorable one indeed. I had stood near the end of a midnight launch line which extended way outside the mall into the gelid winter's almost here bitches air, and waited for over an hour to be handed my sexy pre-ordered copy. The rest of the night, which was technically morning now, I spent experiencing something unexpected and thrilling. Who's that girl? Who are those bastards chasing her? What is this sinister place? What the hell is going on? This is so cool! And it only got better, at least in the short term. Soon the player's character meets the girl the audience had, tries to save her strange Pokemon, and nearly falls to his or her death thanks to a broken bridge, only to be rescued at the last second by a deity whose disappearance is as swift as its arrival. And all of this shit happens before you even get your starter. This intro was the fresh air I was hoping to breathe once I took my first steps off the hype train, which had left the station 10 months prior. There was a Brobdingnagian mass of positive energy surrounding the release of these games, them being the last big hurrah to celebrate the series' 20th anniversary and all. Thanks to the release of Pokemon Go and the monthly commemorative products slowly noting every franchise milestone and past glory, Pokemon was making a low-key comeback into pop culture. It didn't last long, which dark type bites, but it was enough to blast the expectations for Sun and Moon into the stars. Get it? Okay. Game Freak was treating Sun and Moon like the best Pokemon games they had ever made, and the trailers, while lacking in gameplay, were emotionally impactful and poignant, at least for me. I really believed that they could finally make a better game than one from Generation 5. It took me a while to notice that, like X and Y, Pokemon Sun and Moon aren't firing on all cylinders. After bringing Moon home on November 18th, 2016, it took me until last night to completely drag my way through the main story to its soporific ending. So I beat the game and now I want to talk about it. But I'm not going to cover every little thing and make this video into a fucking project like I do everything you've never seen on this channel because I lost interest and never fucking finished it. That said, there will be game-ruining spoilers for you past this point, so please don't watch this video if you haven't played the game. Just because I didn't fall in love with Sun and Moon doesn't mean you won't. I'd hate for what I say here to influence your opinion by projecting my experiences onto your thoughts. Not that I'm especially charismatic or anything, but hearing someone give voice to an idea has more power than you know. That said, I'll begin with the end. Last chance to get out while you can. By the way, the script for this shitio isn't very well written because I just had to take a thought dump, so I'm sorry, not sorry for that. Okay, so the ending sucked. You want a good ending to a 3DS game? Play A Link Between Worlds. Lusamine was an intriguing character initially, and her name is as sexy as she is.
Did I just say that out loud?
It seems odd to celebrate the series with a coming-of-age story revolving around parental neglect, but maybe that's just Pokemon growing up. After seeing Lusamine for the insane, superficial, egocentric monster she really is, she abandons everything for the beauty she sought in Ultra Beasts, escaping into Ultra Space and causing the opening of Ultra wormholes all over Alola, without a care in the world for the consequences. This is the typical climactic cataclysm seen in a few Pokemon stories already, but there's one major issue with this one. There are no resulting issues. After she leaves with what was supposed to be destruction in her wake, I can go anywhere in the world and there are no detrimental effects. None that I saw anyway. Usually at this point, the world's fate is in your character's hands, with the region being literally destroyed around you. But Lusamine sort of just opened a door and locked it behind her, and that's it. From what I could tell, my character could have done nothing at that point and no ill fortune would befall the region. Lusamine would just stay where she was, not disturbing anyone's shits, because her goal was to leave and never come back, to live in her ideal world, and she made it there. Now, I'm not saying every Pokemon game has to be about saving the world. I don't care about the world. I'm just saying that the main villain has to present me with some sort of perilous or personal threat in order to be taken seriously. Personally, if I were writing the story, I would have had her kill her son Gladbag before she left, because the story is really Lily's and not your character's, which is another problem. If for some reason you find yourself uninterested in Lily's plight, then there isn't a lot of internal motivation pushing you from one obnoxious red map marker to the next. When the goal becomes finding Alola's legendary Pokemon for a way into Ultra Space to confront Lusamine, I don't know about anyone else, but I was expecting a long and difficult dungeon with powerful trainers on the way to a crazy confrontation. But like every other environment in this game, it was just another pretentious, straightforward path featuring little in the way of distraction, and lacking in both enemy encounters and cool items to find. I didn't really start to notice until the insultingly linear squiggly line route that was the pointless trek to Hapu before the vast Pony Canyon, a description that can be matched up with many areas in the game by the way, but a lot of this game just feels empty and thus comes off as filler. The overworld design is just irritatingly terribad. I'm supposed to be both a new resident and tourist on these islands, so you'd think they'd want you to explore what little they have to offer, but they always tell you exactly where to go next several times, mark the fucking destination on your map, and block other routes with arbitrarily constructed roadblocks like How standing in your way unflinchingly for no good reason. The lead up to the big fight with Lusamine is an unsatisfying dungeon utilizing a stupidly simplistic mechanic you'd think they'd have done away with by now. Pushing boulders, which are functionally another roadblock. The ride Pokemon are in general better than HMs, but break my immersion when they're supposed to be called like a taxi, yet materialize in a flash of light at the tap of a button that isn't contextualized at all. Also, why can't I fly above these islands in real time atop that Charizard like you could on the Lattes in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire? Because they've shown that it can be done, the fact that this feature isn't in the game is just an admission that they didn't want to bother developing it. The vast Pony Canyon ends up throwing a random, lazily designed trial at you near the end because, oops, you still need one more Z Crystal, don't you? Then Nebby turns into your version's legendary, which isn't explained at all, but okay, it never really is, and it was predictable anyway. Then it takes you to Ultra Space. Don't get excited like I did. This isn't some amazing 3D take on Platinum's Distortion World. It's just another room. Seriously? Why the fuck isn't Ultra Space a dungeon? She really did just close the door on you before, didn't she? Then, because it's Pokemon, the horrible way Lusamine has treated her children is dealt with by Lily, who scolds her mother with puffy cheeks, while your character simply stands idly by with that dead, psychotic, soul-penetrating smile that never ever changes for anything, if you're playing as the guy. So Lusamine basically responds with, "Go away, you ugly lower life form. I have no fucks to give about my own children. I'm a bitch and I love it." Then she fuses with one of her Ultra Beasts, which does nothing but make her look creepy, and fights you. And then you beat her and everything's okay again. No depth, nothing lost, no consequences, and then you just fucking leave. And then you catch Nebby for some reason. Lily actually says that she wants you to put Nebby in a ball. They're still trying to tell us that somehow Pokemon like being enslaved and used as weapons by humans because apparently they become friends along the way. The moment you catch your version's legendary, and this was a shock to me, you're a cutscene away from fast traveling to the Pokemon League, which was conveniently just built. In between riding a series of lifts that take you up the mountain upon which the League sits, Glad Bag and How Did You Make It This Far show up to battle you because there is no victory road in Sun and Moon. Only more glorified corridors with uninspired visuals and still nothing exciting to find. At this point I didn't even care about fighting the Elite Four and becoming champion because it was the professor's dream, not mine. I mean, obviously as a player it was mine, but I didn't care for the champion battle against the professor either, even though apparently a lot of people have been wanting one for a while, I guess. I could see it coming from a mile away and I didn't like that. Also, I don't like his character at all, so maybe that shaped my perspective. Anyway, the ending was rapid fire major event after major event with far too little time dedicated to any one of them, and the result was that I didn't care about any of it. After Lily left for Kanto at the end, I knew I wouldn't care to play the post-game either. After you disappointed me with the finale, you couldn't even show me a short glimpse into Lusamine's relationships with her children after she was beaten. She clearly hated one and cared nothing for the other. They stand up to her and she just starts loving them again once she wakes up? And they forgive her for what she's done? Bullshit! There's some real potential for some serious psychological issues in that family. I guess Pokemon won't go that far. Ironically, this video also has a shitty ending. Team Skull's inclusion was superfluous! Their music was good though.